You've missed all those years when the kids are little and growing up, and like you can never get that back. Ever. So many leaders just neglect their family, and then maybe they have their exit, and now their relationships are just toast.
We were getting them prepped for exit. If they weren't connected to what was next, they would unconsciously sabotage the sale of their business.
CEOs, presidents, CFOs, chief technology, now chief AI officers, mend some of those fences with them or with your wife or your husband. If you're just never there and you never had them as a priority.
Welcome to the stage, Mr. Kip Knippel. Welcome, brother.
All right. Thanks, Jason. I really appreciate you. Honored to be with you.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. The introduction from Kyle was kind of hilarious. And he's like, I think you guys are going to get along. And then we get on the phone and we're like, we might be related.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm excited about it, brother. What did I miss? Tell the people who you are and a little bit about you.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So we were talking before, so I'm married, 3 kids. Our oldest graduates from college in about a month. Our youngest goes to college here in the fall, so we're going to be empty nesters. I've been dating my wife for 7 years before we got married, so we've been together almost 30 years.
Wow.
And strong, Catholic, Christian, big part of our lives. And as I mentioned, I've always been into sports and wellness and fitness, and grew up playing football, basketball, and baseball, and played football, ran track in college. And just my dad introduced me to lifting weights in 6th grade, and I've just fell in love with it and still lift weights every day. My dad's 80 and he still lifts weights every day too. And then after playing college football, I got into triathlon and marathons and endurance sports, even though I'm still more built like a football player. I'm not winning any races, but just like to do it to compete and do that kind of stuff. So
I don't know how people run, brother. Like I tell people all the time, the only time you're going to catch me running is from the cops. And, I like to lift heavy things. I like to fight. I like to do those things, but running, man, I did enough of it during football and whatnot. So, the triathlons, I've always thought to myself, what would it be like? Cause I do love swimming. Hate running, and I also do like biking, but I was like, man, maybe one of these days I'll go do one of those triathlons.
You could do it. Most people hate the swim, so like you got a leg up right there.
Yeah, I love to swim. Well, cool. Well, so let's talk a little bit about your career arc. And I want to bring it up to speed again. The people that are watching, they're people that own businesses. They're in the fight. They're in the struggle. They're looking for eventually. Our tagline around here is that everybody exits, right? It takes a minute for that to sink into people sometimes, right? What I mean by that, but I don't know if you know anybody that's ever gotten out of this thing alive, but I don't, we all exit some way. And, and on the less morbid side, we should all be understanding that at some point in time, we're going to be exiting our business. So if you start with that premise, you start with that idea in mind, then you're going to gain a lot more control over the price, timing, and terms of your exit than if you let it just kind of take you by surprise, right? So talk a little bit about what's brought you to where you are. You're working on 2 really cool projects, world-class CEO search. People come to you. Some of the top names in business come to you to find the right employee. And you're also working with founders who have sold their businesses and actually had an exit, and helping them find something else to apply themselves so that their wives don't get tired of them being home all the time. So what brought you there? What did you start and kind of what's been that arc?
Yeah. But so out of college, went to law school and practiced corporate M&A law for a number of years and commercial real estate. So buying, selling companies, buying, selling real estate. And then went to CB Richard Ellis, big commercial real estate company. CBRE is how most people know them now, doing corporate real estate. So I represented companies, mostly negotiating leases or buying and selling buildings if they owned it for their own operations, not to be a landlord, not to be an investor, but dealt primarily with the owners of the companies, the CEOs, CFOs, and then met some people in the executive search business, what I do now, really to refer business back and forth with a bunch of different groups. And then one recruited me for about a year to come join them. And so that made the switch and just turned around to my CBRE clients. And instead of doing real estate around the country, started doing executive search. and kind of learn the business, then wise up and launch my own firm. And now we do Kip Search, national executive headhunting or recruiting firm. We do some international work too, but mostly C-level executives. So CEOs, presidents, CFOs, chief technology, now chief AI officers, all sorts of interesting things for public companies, private equity backed, venture capital backed, family office backed. But the common thread is C-level executive leadership. And as we were talking before we hopped on here, so that business for Kip Search, our client is the company or the organization, the PE firm, the VC firm, the family office, and we're engaged by them to go find a CEO, a president for their company. But we launched another business called The Arena, which still represents companies, but on the other side, we're representing, as you alluded to, founders, leaders, maybe they had an exit or two, and now they're looking for their next opportunity. Again, so they're not at home in their lives, and they're not the exit that they just did or in the middle of. But the opportunity there is for these founders or leaders, we're going to introduce them to 2, 3, 4 opportunities per year with market disrupting companies. I mean, fully funded, really high growth companies, either to be a leader at that company, to be on the board of the company, or even to invest or any combination of the above. And on the flip side, it's for companies, not a 5th generation manufacturing firm that just wants status quo. The companies in the arena really are market disrupting. They're fast moving, hyper growth in some cases, but they need leaders that can make immediate impact. People that have the experience, they've been there, done that, and can help fuel that growth. Maybe it's, founder led, but they need someone to come in that can really take it to the next level. So we're trying to marry the two on both sides and, add a lot of value and help companies really grow and scale, and have these founders and leaders give them the opportunity. Again, it could be full-time, it could be, a contract basis, a fractional basis, but to take all that expertise they built over the years with their companies, now they've had to exit. Now, how do I apply that, and really kind of mentor or lead or be on the board of other companies to help them, scale real fast.
Yeah, I love that. It takes a certain kind of intellect, and and we say this all the time that business is an intellectual sport. A lot of people play it as an emotional sport. A lot of it play it as a place to solve their daddy or mommy issues, as a therapy or whatever. But eventually, if you stay in this long enough, you realize that this truly is an intellectual sport. And one of the things that I have people that are watching that haven't hired their first person, right? I have people that have been running their company. They're getting a little tired, and maybe need to call you to say, "Hey, I need some help. I need a C-level man or woman to come in here to help us ramp this up." And then on the other side of it, the founders, like the arena, to have a founder. When I was building my first couple of businesses, which failed miserably, by the way, I never even considered, man, there's probably somebody out there that's done what I'm trying to do. And I would love to get their help. Like, it didn't even dawn on me at the time that there's true mentors, not this guru garbage that you see out there,
Right.
and buy my next book and, blah, blah, blah. But true experience. Those are two really amazing combinations. So I want to start first, though, on your C-level searches that you do for the different companies and private equity and family offices and those types of things. What qualities are the people that are trying to hire C-level folks? What qualities are they looking for? Number one, and where are the C-level folks? Do they have jobs? Are they former business owners themselves? Like, talk to me just a little bit about the psychology and the makeup of what you're looking for.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Maybe I'll take the second one first, and then do the first. So we're what's known as a retained recruiting firm, which partly means we don't post jobs, and 99% of the candidates that we ultimately place, were never looking for a role or a job. They were fully engaged at their company, knocking on the park, doing a fantastic job. And then we just come along with a better opportunity for one reason or another. And that's why they make the move. And the one exception to that is, maybe they just had an exit and now they're looking for their next, the next opportunity. But it's truly, candidates that, it's true headhunting. So we are doing research and reaching out to these people proactively to tell our client's story, as opposed to people looking on job boards or just frankly looking for a new role. And then to your first question, there's a lot of people that could be in that president seat or the CFO seat. So we spend a lot of time on the front end with our clients, really understanding their culture, their core values, where the business is now, where they want to take it to. And then, what are the must-haves in the role? What are the nice-haves? All those types of things. And so that we can tell a compelling story to the marketplace about our clients. And then also, we got to make sure it's the right culture fit, the right core value fit. Again, there's a lot of people that could do something and are very good at it, but in order to have good long-term fits, you really have to have that culture and core value match. So we spend a lot of time with the clients on the front end doing that. And then as we're talking to candidates, the same thing, really understanding, what types of cultures they thrive in, what are their personal core values, what, take an example of, a Christian-led organization. We want candidates that are on fire for Christ and want to be in an organization and, and then just have that in the water of everything they do. Like, that's the right candidate, as opposed to someone that would say, oh yeah, I guess I'd be okay with that. I mean, you want someone that's like, good up about it. Or, we do a fair amount for like, politically conservative organizations. And you want someone that, fits into that culture and they're wired that way. And that's their value system and worldview. And so that's another important thing too. But it's a lot of time really making sure we got the right core values, the right, culture fit. And then we can into what they actually do.
I love that. It's so, smart. It's kind of like a dating service, right?
Yeah.
Not that I know what that's like, but at the end of the day, I remember back, when I was single, they had these organizations, and of course you have like the Tinders of the world, which would be equivalent to maybe like a Monster job board. Right. And, and then I'm like, yeah, that does not work. I mean, I'm showing up and these, my date looks, I don't know, just older and not the same as the picture or whatever. It was like false advertising, if you ask me. But, and then there was other services that were like, okay, like just for lunch or whatever, they get to know you. They have, some ladies on the other side. And it seems to me like that's more of the custom level that you're doing, and asking those questions up front, which a business owner has a hard time answering a lot of times. Like, I want to they hire the position, they don't hire the outcome. So I want to jump into one of the very specific things that you said. You're hiring these C-level AI people. And this is there's a fundamental misunderstanding, because, I watched real time as a real estate expert that was trying to sell a book, and a funnel expert that was trying to sell funnels, and, and a business coach that was trying to sell business coaching. I watched all of them magically overnight, Kip, become AI experts.
Right.
So now they're the ones, I get my book and read my stuff, and I'm like, dude, that was the fastest AI transformed these people who were terrible at what they already did into these wonderful AI guys, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about when you're looking for these AI folks, because a lot of people are starting to realize, in order for me to thrive and to survive in the future, I've got to have some AI component. I want to keep the people that I have, maybe not hire as many people, but I want to keep the people that I have and arm them with AI, right? And that understanding that AI is like a commodity, like electricity when it came on board.
Right.
It's kind of like that layer that everybody's going to build on when they had electricity. That fueled, publishing, and it fueled, vehicle creation and manufacturing and all that stuff. And then you had the internet, right? Which nobody owns the internet, but it's a ubiquitous kind of commodity that everybody built on top of. That's what AI actually is. And then if you understand, I'm going a little bit deeper here because I want to hear on your end what you guys' criteria is. And then you start to understand that, yes, it's all of the world's combined best knowledge of anything, right? And it's trying to be predictive, which I don't know how many times you're using predictive text on your phone, but 99% of the time, every once in a while, it's like, oh, so I don't have to type out THE. But most of the time, the predictive stuff is wrong. And so at the end of the day, it now becomes all the way back to the business owner. Oh, I actually have to build SOPs in my business to tell my AI exactly what I want and then be able to hold it accountable. I've been saying this, Kip, for years in business. Is that unless you have SOP systems, processes, you're training, you're delegating, not abdicating. I've been saying it for years, and business owners haven't listened. And now they're like, I got this AI thing. Guess what you have to do? Build SOPs, right? Hold it accountable. Like, no, these are the things that are making me laugh. But until you understand that, now, when you're hiring for a C-level AI person, how would somebody watching this show know that they're actually good at it when they themselves don't understand AI at its core?
Right. That's a great question. And in all honesty, it's no different than other key functions within your business. I mean, you want to hire someone that knows and is better than you at whatever the discipline is, whether it's sales or marketing or HR or manufacturing. I mean, AI is no different. And to hire like a chief artificial intelligence officer, I mean, you're a business of a certain sophistication or a certain industry. Not everyone's going to go out and hire that. But what I tell people, and I tell like my son who's graduating from college, if you can just study AI and get to know it, no matter what role you're in, if you can bring AI to bear, you're so much more valuable.
Yes.
To your current organization or any organization that's out there, if you can just understand how to enhance what you're currently doing. But the key thing is, to your point, people are spending so much time, organizations, on AI, on, the different, frontier platforms, but really they're not spending any money on training their people on how to use AI. They're paying for the tool, but nobody knows how to use it.
Yeah.
So I would encourage organizations, founders, leaders to find good training that you can put your people through, put yourself through, so you can really understand, okay, we've got these tools, but how do we use them? How do we maximize them? And then you can come back and figure out, okay, how can we apply this to our business?
That's genius. It's exactly what we're doing. So you make me sound really smart, right? I'm doing it. I'm in it. I tell people all the time, my worst 2 years in business, because I'm a great salesperson. That's like what I've always been. I've been out there. My business is the greatest. It doesn't matter if it's commercial janitorial I was doing or car washes or, whatever I was doing, I was the front man. And I realized that to be able to scale to what I wanted to do with my life, to be able to have the exit I did in 2019, right? To be able to do that, I was going to have to understand my operations people, how they thought, and then how I could build tools for them to be able to succeed. And I had 2 years. I thought it was going to be about 3 months. I thought, no problem. I'll be able to understand the mind of an operator in 3 months, right? Very arrogant and very stupid. But it took me 2 years. And I sat in that seat for 2 solid years, the worst 2 years in my career, period, end of sentence. I hated every minute of it. But I came out the other side, and now I've got businesses, all of the ones I own, the consulting firm that we have, all operate for operators, right? They're all built for operators. And so this training that you're talking about, I'm going through it myself, not just for me, but every business that we're helping exit. We want to be able to securely and wisely plant AI as an accelerator, as an additional marker for the buyer of the business to go, oh, it's already in there, right? It's already in there. And so on that side of it, I'll tell you that it comes down to output, right? The stuff that you're building with AI, it comes down to what is it actually meant to do, and that's how a business owner is going to measure it. I'm bringing you in here. I want you to put AI in here so that I can keep the financial staffing as it is, get better numbers, get faster numbers, get at more accurate numbers, and then not have to hire 3 people as I go from 5 million to 10 million. Right. And so if we ask that question of some CAI, I guess is the new role, what's been your work output as a measure of due diligence? What did you build? What training did you build? And what did you build that changed results from where you came from? I think that's a healthy question. What do you think?
Very good. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And the truth is, I mean, AI harnessed right, you can continue to hire people, but those people can 10x the output and the work that they can do.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not replying to emails and doing marketing things. It's, I mean, in the business, how can you just absolutely throw gasoline on the fire and the output that an individual person can create?
Well, you work with a lot of private equity firms. I do too. And family offices. I do too. And the thing that they're looking for is, and where all of the money, why there's such wild valuations in the AI space, is because of the capacity. Like, you may have a 10-person team that you're at max capacity at $5 million. Well, now all of a sudden, with those same people, you can now take that. Now you've got 3 times the capacity. And so your margins get better, your profitability gets better, the anchoring of the business, right? Are you hearing the same thing from the PE firms and the family offices that you're talking to?
Yes. And then it just compounds on itself. You're getting, 3 times the return, but now you're learning more and you're implementing more. And then it's 3 times on that and 3 times on that and 3 times on that. It's exponential. Yeah. It's hard then for your competition to catch up with you. If you already have that, if you're the first mover and they learn it, but they're coming after you, but you're already 3 steps ahead, times 3, it's just, you can leave your competition in the dust.
Yeah. I'd go so far to say, and I'm telling people that I'm working with right now, that if you got that AI component correct, and then you want to go do another one, you just go business to business to business to business, and you implement this AI strategy and flip those, not a flip. I hate that word because it means something way different to the fake M&A guru idiots that are out there, right? But what I mean by that is, now you could do it systematically through any business. It didn't matter if it's roofing. It doesn't matter if it's, car wash. It doesn't matter. You would be able to add value and take that up and be able to go, because private equity firms specifically are looking desperately for AI augmented businesses right now and paying a premium for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. And if AI can be part of their strategy, because usually they're, taking a business, streamlining things, improving things, putting those processes in place. And if AI is another, tool in the tool chest to do that on every single company that they acquire, that's a powerful thing.
Yeah. They're buying, people that buy businesses are looking for predictability and certainty. Those 2 things. And AI layered into everything that you have, there's no other tool that can make it more predictable, right? And be able to be held more accountable and to have more clarity than having your AI tools built correctly inside.
For sure. Absolutely.
So talk to me a little bit about the arena. And because we do have, our organization I had to build like a 6-week program for business owners, because as we were getting them prepped for exit, if they weren't connected to what was next, then at a very, very core level, they would, whether it was consciously or unconsciously, sabotage the sale of their business because they hadn't gotten right with, I'm not going to be needed there. My identity is complete. If I don't own a business, if I don't own this particular business, then who am I? Right. And it messes with people in ways that you're like, oh, rock solid business owner, 30 years, great family, great Christian, great this, great that. And then all of a sudden they're like drinking and they get to the closing table and they say something stupid and it blows the deal up because they haven't dealt with that. And so we have a program, it's a 6-week program that we had to build so that these guys and women that were selling their companies wouldn't blow their deal at the very, at the final day. It's already hard enough. Out of 100% of businesses that get put on the market, only 93% of them sell. Or I'm sorry, only 7% of them sell. 93% don't sell. Right? It's already hard enough to add in, oh, everything's perfect except for the business owner's mindset. And so I love the arena, and I want to introduce this to the right CEOs and the right founders that are exiting. I want to introduce them to this because I think it's a great program for maybe what's next, to be able to take all that wisdom and roll it forward. So talk to us a little bit about the arena.
For sure. So on the leaders, we came up with this through a bunch of market research, which was also AI driven. I mean, market research that would take a couple of years, we were able to condense that and compare it against the whole marketplace for recruiting, for companies, for people. What are the pain points? But essentially, we'll spend a lot of time with the leader. Let's say it's the founder that's head and exit, really understanding them. What. Because as you're alluding to, like, they need to find purpose now, like, and just helping them think through where do you find purpose? What does fire you up? What gets you excited? And we'll spend a lot of time with them, really understanding them and helping, we have all sorts of tools to help pull those things out of them. But then ultimately we're going to help them create like a manifesto video to tell their story. So all these companies on the other side can see them. They're just like, as I'm looking at you through the screen, and can see them tell their story, like in a manifesto style, who they are, what they've done, what they're excited for, where they think they, have unique skill sets in the marketplace where they can add the most value, and just get a sense of who they are as a person, as opposed to like a resume or, a telephone call. Let's like a polished, well done manifesto of who they are, what they're all about. We help them create that. And we do the same thing, frankly, on the company side too. We help, instead of, a job description or a website, we help these companies create a video that really tells their story, who they are, what are their core values, what's the culture, what are they all about, what's their mission, how are they trying to change the world and disrupt everything, so you can have a compelling view into each other. And as I said, and then we'll help the leaders, the founders, think through what types of things would be interesting for you. And the AI is built into the arena to help identify that on both sides. But yet it's confidential. So let's say a company's looking for, a new president. I mean, the founders take it to a certain level, but I need a president to take this thing to the next level. As we spend time with the company, as we normally would, like within KIPP Search, thinking through what does the right new president for your company look like, then AI will help us. And I guess to back up, one of the biggest complaints in search is it takes too long and it's way too expensive. So as we spend time with the company and then apply that into the arena, AI assisted, it will identify maybe 5 people that we think are perfect, but it's blind profiled. So we got the confidentiality. And then we'll go talk to those candidates, those leaders, the founders that have exit, and say, here's the company that's interested in you. Is it okay to share your information and make that connection, let you guys talk? And then perhaps it is, and we make that happen. And then even after those 5 initial people that come up kind of through the AI driven portion, then those of us in the arena, that are behind it, we will do our own research within the arena and try to make some connections too, beyond just what technology is doing. So it's just super high human touch, but also driven with technology and AI to help kind of make those connections on both sides and get those conversations going and getting the right people quickly, but very strongly vetted, and we're all, and core value aligned, culture aligned, purpose aligned, vision aligned, and then just really add value there and make those connections. And there's a lot to it. And arenaexecutives.com is the website where people can like see it. But then I also did like 5 mini episodes on my podcast explaining the arena from nuts to bolts, start to finish, from both the leader side and the company side, so people can really understand it before they delve in and then talk live with me to really kind of explain things.
What's the name of your podcast?
So it's Capitalist Culture. So capitalistculture.com is the website for the podcast, so people can see it. I mean, it's on every podcast platform there is, the audio and videos on YouTube. And really the focus of Capitalist Culture is private equity leaders, venture capital leaders, family office leaders, or founder leaders of like parabolic growth companies. So those are who the guests are. Or just, I've had some leaders in AI. I had the head of AI and machine learning from Amazon on. I had Maria Bartiromo from Fox on. So there's some other different types of guests, but really the main thrust is leaders in private equity, venture capital, and family offices.
That's very cool. So I'm really interested in the portfolio of businesses that are looking for these guys, from an investor standpoint. Like I'm really interested in that, so that's something that we'll definitely partner up on a little bit as we move forward, because I love fast growth. I like to be able, I'm one of those founders. I mean, that's what we do. My business is literally set up around, I don't need a consulting firm. If my consulting firm went away tomorrow, it doesn't impact my life one way or the other, and I do this out of pure passion. I've got a 33-person team that are just badasses at what we do. And it's because of what you identified. I want to continue to give back. Our bigger mission, obviously, is this owner syndicate that we're building, which is representation for small and mid-sized business owners, so we never get called non-essential again. Right? That's the big play. Free 600 business owners from financially, and band us all together so that we can protect the next generation. There's nobody protecting that next generation right now, and this is the core of freedom. Being able to own your own business. Talk a little bit about how you balance your work life, 3 kids. Like you said, you're about to become an empty nester. That's a whole other what's next for you kind of a scenario. But how have you balanced it, and that and a 30-year relationship with your wife? Like what's the secret for the rest of us?
Yeah. I mean, obviously nobody's perfect. I mean, so like I would never hold things out to that I have all the answers. But I mean, with my wife, I mean, we've been best friends like since we met, like literally best friends, and have always done like date nights and done stuff just us as we're raising the kids, even when, that was hard to do. So we're really kind of excited for the next chapter. And even she is, because usually the dads are, and the moms are like, well, you're kind of like, you've just sold your business. Like, who am I now? Like, right. I've been a mom. I'm like, who am I now? But she's come around to like really being excited. And I mean, we've been blessed that we have been best friends and just aligning our values and what we wanted out of life, like forever. Again, nothing's perfect, but like really been best friends. And then to answer your question about kids and life, and I mean, there's seasons of things. Like as my kids grew up, I mean, I coached them in everything. All their sports until they were too old for me to be the coach, and they needed like a real coach. Yeah. And I coached my son all the way until he was in 8th grade, but he was on the sophomore high school basketball team, and I coached that. And then he was on varsity the next year, and then had a real coach, but coached all the way through to JV high school baseball, and traveling basketball and traveling baseball for my boys and all their sports. And my daughter coached her in basketball. I don't know anything about soccer all through. I ended up playing soccer in high school, so I never coached that. But just trying to be involved in their lives. And, as they got older, and once they got their driver's license, obviously life changes and you're not with them all the time, and you don't have to be home quite as early to coach those things. You just kind of show up for the games or their performances. They're all in plays and things too. But it is kind of sad when the driver's license happens, because when you're driving them around, you have the team in the back seat, my wife's always like, how do you know everything that's going on? I'm like, I just drive and I'm quiet and I just listen to them, and they're all talk. So you know everything that's going on, but it's different when they get their license and you're not with them anymore and you're a little bit more disconnected. But I don't know. My wife, the kids have always just been a priority. And I love my work. I love my business. I love, training and fitness and those types of things, but just keeping family a priority through it all. And I just see so many leaders that lean so hard into the business and just neglect their family. And then maybe they have their exit and now their relationships are just toast.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, kind of too late. You've missed all those years when the kids were little and growing up, and like, you can never get that back.
Yeah.
Ever. And then it's hard to, mend some of those fences with them or with your wife or your husband if you're just never there and you never had them as a priority. And part of it is, on your calendar. I mean, block off, a date night with your spouse, or we're going to do a long weekend, once a quarter or whatever it is, and just put those things on the calendar. Because you always say, if you look at someone's calendar, you know their life. And so if you look it on there and block off, like I block off the schedule on my calendar every day for when I'm going to work out. So no meetings, no calls, no Zooms, no podcasts, nothing conflicts with that, because that's a priority.
Yeah.
If you can get same thing with your family, I think that helps. Again, nobody's perfect and things come up where, you just have to do things certain times, but just really giving some thought to what are your priorities. And, we're going to be empty nesters now. So now it's not all this kid stuff anymore. So there's different seasons for when you can be more involved, maybe you're coaching or doing whatever, but now, there's different seasons. So things can shift and you can't do everything all at once. Nobody can be an expert at everything all the time.
That's true. I try to lie to people and tell them that I am, but
And I am not like a multitasker. I cannot do two things at once. That is not me. And I think it's false that that's even a real thing, that people can do that. But I know I can't. And so I have to do one thing at a time.
Right. That's super helpful. Awesome, man. Great conversation, as I knew it would be. As we wrap it up, what is one golden nugget that you've gotten from your career? Could be two, whatever, but what's one thing that really changed the game for you that you hold on to as a core principle for you in your business these days?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. I mean, something I tell to candidates, especially maybe founders that have just had an exit, or even people when they're looking to leave for the next role, just to spend a little bit of time and think, if I could paint the perfect, you can apply this in any area of life, but the perfect role at the perfect company, or maybe it's 3 or 5 totally different ones, what would that be? And if you laser focus on that, and again, when they work with us, we help them laser focus, we do it together, you can find it. You can always broaden your search to other things, but if you can, it's like your RAS, your reticular activating system in your brain. And for those that don't know, it's like you get a new car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. Well, they've always been there, but now your brain is attuned to find that. It's the same thing in a role, a job, an opportunity. If you know what you're looking for, it's out there. Even if it's the most obscure, strange thing, if you know you're looking for it, you will find it. And so it's just a good mental exercise for people to go through. And again, I try to do that for myself too. And again, when we're entrepreneurs, business owners, I mean, trying to, we run on EOS traction for companies that do that. And part of that is carving out time just to think.
Yeah.
Not be in the business, not be working on the business, but just time to think separate, even if that's taking a day away or a weekend away all by yourself, just to think.
Yeah.
I think that's important to do.
Yeah. I learned that one from Keith Cunningham, the Real Rich Dad and Rich Dad Poor Dad books. And he just, he has it down to a science. That thinking time, that changed my life. It just absolutely changed my life, because I'm a doer. And I think most business owners are doers. and they're not only are they doers, but they're borderline ADHD, right? And so sitting still is going to grow my business. What? Like, that's a shock to the system. Yeah.
You need to take action and make it happen.
Amen. Amen. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, brother. I appreciate you. How do people find you if they need some help?
So Kip Knippel, my name on all the social media platforms. I mean, LinkedIn's probably the main one that I do, but on all of them. KIPP Search is on all social platforms. KIPPsearch.com is our website. And as I said, arenaexecutives.com is the arena. But if you just Google Kip Knippel or KIPP Search or ChatGPT it or whatever your favorite AI is, you'll be able to find us. And Capitalist Culture, again, is the podcast, capitalistculture.com. But if you just think capitalism, culture, put those together and stick that in your favorite platform too, and it'll pop it out.
They'll find you.
Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Well, I know we are going to be hanging out in real life and
yes.
Getting together. I know I'll be on your podcasts at some point here in the future. And I appreciate you coming in, taking the time, sharing with us. It's been a very valuable podcast. So thank you, brother.
I really appreciate you. Thank you very much, Jason.